Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself, or even know your nation, know yourself. Both are interchangeable. Okay, today, this is quite an important show today. He says, yeah, don't us all astrologers all say that? But genuinely, we are really in a very important time, a very important kind of crossroads, shall we say, an inflection point, as you may have heard others say, and you probably heard me say before. But genuinely, this is. What is this show about today? This show that I'm going to put on for you today is about the eclipses. Yeah, the eclipse season coming up. And the eclipses are going to start on the 20th of April 2023. So we don't have long. We're already in that catchment window. Yeah, the energies of the eclipse tend to manifest a few weeks or a month or so before they begin, and then they carry on for 6 months and even up to a year. Yeah, which will be the theme. They will see some new themes that will play out for the rest of 2023 and even potentially going into 2024. Yeah, so this is I spent quite a lot of time preparing this, getting this ready. Yeah, buying my shirt and everything for you guys. I have detailed notes. Yeah, I'm going to try and go through these, relatively quickly, but I took myself off to my local cafe today because I really had to, get everything down. You know what it's like when you've got important notes to make and stuff like that. And sometimes it's actually better to be away from home and where you've got the ambient noise, people talking, and then I could really focus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my notes. So this will be sort of like the preamble. And I'm going to be talking about astro weather. Yeah, I'm going to be talking about astro weather and some of these big key influences that are going on and why everything feels so intense. What I'll also say as well is, if you've not had a chance to have a look yet, I did a collaboration. I think it was Monday, but it was the Monday, my morning, 2 a.m. actually morning of Pacific time, with tea time with Tanya. And quite a few of you have seen that collaboration. Are really enjoying it. It was a lot of fun, and she was very generous and allowed me to go into a lot of detail about a lot of the things that are happening here on Earth School and stuff like that. So if you've not had a chance to watch that yet, please tune in to that, and you can actually find the video in my collaborations tab. You know, when you go to my channel, you see all the different categories. If you click on collaborations, you'll see Tanya is there, and that will take you to the thing that we did. This video will also as well be about what the eclipses will mean for you personally, yeah, depending on your ascendant, moon sign, and even sun sign. Yeah, today, to help with that and to actually help kind of visually illustrate that in a kind of a clear, concise way, because, as you know, it can be confusing. Yeah, all the eclipses. And of course, I do Vedic astrology, which is 24 degrees, follows the precession, the backwards motion of the stars. And of course, you've got the Western astrologers also talking about the eclipses. They're 24 degrees ahead. So I want to debut today. Look here. This is Hogie's Eclipse Calculator. Yeah. I cobbled this up yesterday. You guys are who look at my community tab would have seen the photographs where I actually put these together. And if you can see here, there's some little spangles here. I put a little bit of silver on my stars. So what is this? This will be explained here. These are the houses. Of course, these are the signs of the zodiac, which you guys all know. And here, most importantly, is showing the nodes of the moon, where they are right now in terms of sidereal astrology. Yeah, Western astrology, they're also in Aries and Libra. Yeah, but here the nodes of the moon move backwards. So look, they were in Taurus and Scorpio. You had to spend 18 months in each sign, and now they've moved into Aries, Libra. yeah, which started April 30th, 2020, yeah, and that's when they were in Bharani Nakshatra, which is in the middle of Aries, yeah. You know, I'm always talking about the nakshatras. Where's my other little demo thing? Oh, allow me un momento, folks, un momento. So, and there's going to be timestamps, by the way, everyone. I'm going to put timestamps for your sign and everything like that. But I encourage everyone to watch this early part because it anchors everything and puts what's happening personally for you in the wider context of Earth School. Yeah. So this is something I'll be showing as well. I'll be doing a little collab as well with Linda G soon as well on this Friday, actually, and I'll explain that in a minute when I get through my notes. This here, folks, which you may not have seen before, but I'm going to show this on Linda's channel as well, is a nakshatra wheel. Here's the 12 signs of the zodiac, which I refer to as the pizza slices, and this actually shows the precession of the equinoxes. Here are the stars of the ecliptic, yeah, what we see from Earth when we're looking at the planets. And I'll explain, but basically everything's been moving backwards. Yeah, everything moves backwards. So what we now think of as Aries is now actually in the area of Pisces. Yeah, everything moves back. But that I'll explain a bit more, yeah, on Linda G's show when I'm on. But anyway, there's that. So I'm going to be using the calculator. So when I'm talking about the rising sign, yeah, the rising sign, the moon sign, rising sign and moon sign are most important, but even sun sign we can count. Then I'll have it pointing at the sign I'm talking about and the houses that the eclipses will be happening in. Yeah. So for Aries, yeah, Aries, it's happening in the first house and the seventh house. Yeah. And then I'll move it to Taurus, and then I'll move the house bit, etc. So on and so forth, so everyone can see where the eclipses are happening and in which area of life. I'll also read out as well here, as everyone knows, this is where the houses and what their meanings are. So I'll briefly do that. Everyone's going to get about a couple of minutes or so. And I'm going to set my timer, so if anyone's sensitive to noise or anything like that, or got a weak bladder, yeah, or a slightly dodgy heart, you will hear the beeping. So just be ready for that. And that's just so that I can keep it concise and on time. Hopefully this video might run for about an hour or maybe 45 minutes, depending on how quickly I can get through everything. But at the same time, I don't want to rush, because this is very important, because this reading that I'm going to do is going to be relevant for the whole of 2023 and maybe even going into a bit of 2024. Okay, so that's that. Yeah. Now I'm going to go to my notes, because there's important things that I want to talk about in regards to the astrological weather, and why everything is so intense and cray and all of that stuff. All right. So here, looking at the top of my notes, I'm going to talk about Pluto again. You're probably thinking, oh, Jesus Christ, when will Hoagie ever shut up about Pluto? I won't, yeah? Why? Because it's too important. Yes, in Western astrology, of course, they're talking about Pluto going into Aquarius, yeah? But remember, Vedic astrology follows precession of the equinoxes. The stars have moved backwards, yeah, by about 24 degrees. So I'm going to be talking about the physical body of the planets, their body, yeah? Just like with human beings, yeah? We can do more when we can actually get a hold and touch things. Makes sense, doesn't it? With our body. When we're not physically somewhere, we can look. Yeah, all planets look. So in many ways, Western astrology is anticipatory, because it shows where a planet is looking. But when a planet physically arrives in a constellation, zodiac sign space, that's when we actually start seeing these concrete manifestations here on planet Earth. Yeah, this is how I was able to predict the insurrection. Yeah, and you can go back and look back in my video playlist. And what happened was the physical body of Pluto moved into sidereal Capricorn on the 1st of January 2021. Yeah. What happened 5 days later? We all know, yeah? Insurrection. Yeah, I said something poopy would happen because Pluto was moving through the tail of the flying grape, which is like a type of eagle. Yeah. And we all know when it comes to eagles and birds in general, what are the things to avoid when it comes to birds? Yeah. The claws, the beak, and the bum. Yeah. Because we all know what happens. Yeah. And I said something poopy will happen at the Capitol. There'll be some kind of riot. I didn't use the word insurrection because it had fallen out of use at that time. Yeah, we all would have had to look through the history books and been able to guess, yeah, because insurrection had been so long since it happened. But I said there'll be some kind of coup. I said Trump will attempt some kind of coup. And he did. Yeah. And it was verified when I looked at Ivanka's chart, his daughter's Navamsha chart, second half of life chart. Anyway, it's all there. Just go back and look if you want to have a look. The point is, that's when Pluto's body moved into sidereal Capricorn and was the official beginning of the Pluto return, which you've heard everyone talking about, which is now happening over here in the second house of the USA's chart, the Declaration of Independence chart. 1776, July 4th, 6:30 p.m. Philadelphia is the one that I use. It works beautifully. The rising sign of America is Sagittarius, which is all about what? Passion, truth-finding, laws, rules, religion, fanaticism even. And Pluto is now here. Come back to himself, which takes almost 250 years, but Pluto has an elliptical orbit. So it takes him 244 to 248 years sometimes to make one revolution around the sun and to come back to himself. So America is having its first Pluto return. And for me, this is like the equivalent of our first or second Saturn return that we have as human beings. Yeah. So Pluto is over here back to himself and will become exact towards the end of 2023 going into 2024. 2024 is what? The elections, yeah? All of that kind of stuff is happening in the second house. What does the second house deal with? I know I wasn't planning to go into this much detail, but it's so much, it really, when you hear it explained, it all starts to make sense. Right, second house deals with the face, the neck, the teeth, and the voice, yeah? But it deals with early childhood, food and diet, yeah? Things to do with food, agriculture, stuff like that, music, agriculture, education. Isn't that interesting? Lots of changes happening there. It can deal with money, farming, speech, vision, the right eye in particular. This is like for human beings, not necessarily mundane astrology, but it also deals with self-value. It deals with family values, values in general, and money, yeah? Finances, money, savings. Isn't it interesting how this is becoming to an absolute boiling point in America right now? Globally as well, yeah? Globally as well. This is happening wherever Capricorn is in anyone's chart. Everyone is having Pluto go through sidereal Capricorn right now. And this is a long transit, by the way. Yeah, we've got about 18 years. Yeah. Does it mean it's going to be this intense for 18 years? No. Yeah. But for America, what happens is when a planet crosses over its return point, that's the most intense point. Once Pluto gets 2, 3, 4 degrees and further away from its return point, which is 6 degrees 48 minutes of sidereal Capricorn, yeah, in the USA chart. Pluto is currently at, let's have a quick look. I should have my laptop open. I think Pluto's currently around about 3, 4 degrees, so it's well within orb. Let's see if I can get my laptop to wake up. Oh, typical, it's decided to go to sleep. So sorry I couldn't give you the exact degree on that. So there's that context. So let me read on. And then, you know, the second half of the show will, of course, be the ascendants and stuff like that. So Pluto, let me take the glasses off here. The energies, yeah? I'm going to talk about the lower energies and the higher energies. Those of you, when you watched the show I did with Tanya, but I use the analogy of planets as radio stations. They're more than that. Planets are people. Planets are like crystals, yeah? They refract the light, the Shakti from the stars, which gives the star signs their flavor. They're also like musical instruments. They change their tone and their tune depending which house they're in, what sign they're in, and who they're with. Here, I'll get my laptop open, see if it will comply. But the most important thing, this analogy, and I say this to all of my clients, I say that the planets are like radio stations. That's, for me, is the truest expression. And what do I mean by that? They broadcast their lowest to highest vibrations simultaneously. Yeah, simultaneously. And what is here we are, I've got my screen up here. What they do is they broadcast those frequencies continually, and we are like antennae, yeah, or antenna, yeah, and we're receiving those subconsciously. We're receiving those messages. How we respond to those messages depends on our personal karma from our previous lifetimes, but also our own free will. But our own free will, of course, is defined at the level of vibration in which we exercise that free will. The highest vibrations, of course, are the most altruistic, the best of what the planets can offer, yeah, and do. But of course, the lower vibration, or the lowest vibrations, tend to be the most common ones. Why? Because it's easier to go at the lower vibrations. My analogy is like this. The highest vibration is like the fruits at the top of the tree, which get the most sunlight. They're the sweetest, but they're the hardest to reach. Yeah, you have to climb through many different layers. You know, we need to do our personal development, becoming aware, trying to move out of shadow and advance or integrate shadow, etc., which is something I'll be talking about, to climb up the tree. But it takes a lot of work, can often take a lot of lifetimes to what? Get to that enlightenment, yeah? Most people try and do their best, yeah, but we slip from the wagon from time to time. But we'll also see that there are a lot of people that don't even bother with that. If we look at the power structures of the world, a lot of those are going for the low-hanging fruit, which of course is the easy stuff. Far easier to incite hate and division and stuff like that, rather than making things. They're much easier to destroy than make, yeah, we all know that. And some are literally eating the rotting fruit on the floor. So even difficult planets like Pluto, Saturn, Mars, etc., have their higher vibrations, yeah, which can be excellent. So I hope that gives you a little context. So let's go into Pluto. And then, you know, and then we'll go into the the ascendants. And let me just look here to see. Look at this. So today's date, let's see here. Wait, this has got, yeah, here we are. We've got the transits here. So today's date is the 28th of March 2023, and it's my time here is 1951. So it's 9 minutes to 8 p.m. in the evening here. And Pluto currently going direct is now at 6 degrees and 9 minutes. Pluto in the USA chart is at 6 degrees and 48 minutes. This is pretty much almost the exact return, yeah? So we're hitting that boiling point in regards to Pluto. All right, so let's start talking about some of the characteristics of Pluto. So the lower vibrations that we're seeing in the world, yeah? So, and which can deal with often the majority in power, which they reach for. So here we are. It can deal with authoritarianism, yeah? Look at the news, yeah? Look at the world. We can all agree authoritarianism is increasing, yeah? This is Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn is the sign of governments, yeah? Governments of all kinds, top-down structures, authorities, rules, regulations. restrictions, pressure, yeah, edicts, elites, yeah, can deal with elites as well, because Capricorn is a very ambitious sign. The shadow of it can deal with elitism. Yeah, think of all what's happened since Saturn moved into sidereal Capricorn at the end of January 2020. We all know what happened. Yeah, lockdown galore, this, that, and the other. No one could do anything. Yeah, we couldn't do, but we're all locked in our houses and whatnot. Yeah, this is what happened. There's no, as we know, there's no arguing about this, because this was the reality. But the energies help explain. Saturn has now moved into sidereal Aquarius, and I'll talk a little bit about that. Anyway, shadow of Pluto, so authoritarianism. Corruption, yeah, corruption. Aren't we seeing a lot of that? Yeah, can deal with avarice. Yeah, avarice, which is, an extreme form of greed. Yeah, manipulation, sexual abuse. Yeah, stuff like that. Slavery. Yeah, and I know that's a strong word to use, but I'll add to that. Why am I saying that? It can deal with physical, spiritual, and financial. Can even deal with Pluto as well. Can deal with things like genocide and stuff like that. Anyway, but what do I mean by that? Physical, spiritual, or financial. So this is what I put here in my notes. I put here the financial is the most obvious one of all. Yeah, people who've, and this is something I discovered recently, people who've run out of all forms of credit, so they've gone through their credit cards, they've gone through their loans, all these various different things, are now using buy now, pay later on groceries. Like, can you believe this? This is from, I understand this is happening in the States. Maybe it's happening elsewhere. Obviously, we have a lot of food bank scenarios going on in the UK as well. I'm not trying to say the UK is perfect. As you see, we're dealing with what are Brexit and all of the BS and Boris the blonde blancmange, and we're going through our kind of things as well. But imagine that, buy now, pay later on groceries. Really? Yeah. So when I'm talking about this context of, there are many different types of indenture. Yeah. Slavery, for example, the most common one is debt. Yeah, debt, finances. Think of how much debt there is in the world, not only in nations, but personal debt and stuff like that. And when we look here, so the Federal Reserve, now remember, the Federal Reserve has been raised interest rates 9 times. 9 times, yeah, since last year, yeah, and the interest rate was hovering around 0, yeah, you can imagine, which is almost basically free money, and now since of March 2023, it's between 4.75 to 5%, yeah. Now historically, at least in the UK, the historical average for interest rates has been about 6%. But can you imagine if you bought your home, your house, or whatever, and you're already probably quite leveraged up to the eyeballs in doing so, and you bought your house when things were around about 0, how is one to cope with interest rates of 5%, and potentially even nudging up even more? Oh my goodness, yeah, that's tough. So I want to say, it's like, look, it's tough. It's tough. You're not imagining this, yeah? You're not going crazy, and it's not your fault, yeah? It's honestly, it is not your fault if you're finding that you're struggling, or struggling to make ends meet and stuff like that. What I'm doing is, even though the message is not necessarily the easiest one to hear, but like they say, the truth sets you free, is to help us all understand why is this happening, yeah? But it's not your fault. And I just want to say to people, if you're feeling embarrassed because or anything like that, because you're struggling financially and stuff like that, really, you're not alone. Millions upon millions of people are in this situation. Look at the rate of homelessness going on in the USA, let alone around the world. My goodness. So the Federal Reserve has put has continually put the stuff up in, like they say, to combat inflation. However, this is likely to have a devastating impact on ordinary people. Yeah, this is the highest rate since 2007. Yeah, and we all know what happened in 2008. Yeah, not that any bankers have been held accountable or anything for that, you know, a debacle. So this higher interest rates, of course, can affect the smaller banks. And what was it? And when will these increases in interest rates be passed on to savers? Yeah, so the interest rates have gone up. As far as I'm aware, the rates of savings haven't really moved that much. If your savings were starting to accrue 5-6%, well, at least then you could, you know, your nest egg will be at least accruing something. Yeah. So very, very interesting. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and how you're coping financially with these rate heights, and you know what's going on and stuff like that. So there's that. And you see, even though when I use that word slavery, even though that is a strong word and it is an impactful word and it's a loaded word, you can see why. When we look at it from that perspective, it's like, oh yeah, real term wages in the States in particular have barely moved, you know, for decades. Same in the UK. Guess what? When they take inflation into account, UK wages have still not recovered. They're still at the same level they were in 2008. Yeah. But of course, everything has gone up multiple times since then, and we're dealing with huge levels of inflation. So, you know, you're not alone. If you're struggling financially, you are not alone. Let me tell you. But I'm showing you the reasons what's going on. Okay, what's the higher energies of Pluto though? The higher energies of Pluto are self-accountability, deep shadow work. Yes, we talk about the light work a lot, but we also need to do what? Our shadow work. Yeah, this is so important. So, you know, so part of light work, of course, is calling out shadow when we see it. But what I define as shadow work as well is calling out the shadow in ourselves. Yeah. So that's a very important thing. I'm not saying people watching aren't doing that. No, of course not. But we're all at different levels of doing that. It's very important to actually look at these things. So doing our shadow work, looking at ourselves and adjusting accordingly. Yeah. But the advantages of doing this are powerful alchemy of transformation, full self-realization. No need to act out. All the acting out stuff, all the drama, everything like that stops. Even mastery of addictions as well. I kid you not. Not getting triggered all the time is another one as well. Incisive intuition dissolves the fear of shadow, which halts the need for spiritual bypassing. Yeah. So once we've integrated the shadow and we've done our shadow work, even though we don't like the Mishagos and the evil that we're seeing in the world, we don't feel the need to constantly escape and run from that as well, which of course can be a form of spiritual bypassing, which ultimately it doesn't help, because it's like the ostrich putting its hand in the sand going, yeah. But what happens when you do that? You get run over. Yeah. When you stand still in the middle of the road, you put your head in the sand and you do that, what happens? You get run over. Yeah. So this is about integrating the shadow and accepting the shadow within ourselves and out in the world outside. And that way we're much able to transform ourselves, which in turn transforms the world. Yeah. The only thing we can control are our responses to things, as many of you would have heard said by many sages. Let's see here. And this also deals with congruent integrity, X-ray vision, in the sense of the ability to be able to see through any illusion, spell, or mind virus. Yeah, when we do that shadow work, you know, it's the modus operandi of the agendas of whatever's going on just become obvious. Doesn't mean you have to do the can walk down the street and calling absolutely everything out, but one knows it within oneself. Yeah. Also as well, shadow agendas become obvious, which I've said already, and unfettered hero worship comes to an end because light and shadow are seen in everyone. So I'll say that again. Unfettered hero worship comes to an end. When we're putting people or situations or politicians, which is what we see all the time, on pedestals and thinking that they're perfect and they can do no wrong, we're under a spell. Yeah, it's a spell. Yeah, no one's perfect. We all have light and shadow. It all depends how well integrated it is. Look at some people that are looking at Duck L'Orange, yeah, like he's some messiah. Yeah, that's obviously shadow, isn't it? I mean, to look at the guy and just go, you know, even think, I'm not saying he doesn't have any virtues. Pardon me, he doesn't have any virtues at all, but to kind of look at him as some kind of messiah, really? Yeah, that's deep, deep, deep in shadow. They're under a spell, yeah? Under a spell. Anyway, so there's that. We also, I'm going to talk as well about the Mercury retrogrades, and I just want to clear up something as well. Now, you remember in my last video where I spoke about this emergency update thing in the UK? Very interesting, yeah? Very, very interesting. So what have I written here? Mercury retrograde. So I'm going to give the dates of Mercury retrograde, and this is going to be relevant for the whole of 2023. Mercury goes retrograde about 3 times a year. So the first one, April 21st to May 14th, 2023. Yeah, and he's going to be in Bharani Nakshatra in Aries and going back into Ashwini. Yeah, so this is, you know, I'm going to talk about the importance of that. Then the next one is August 23rd to September 15th. Yeah, 2023. And he goes in, starts retrograde 27 degrees 40 minutes of Uttara Falguni and goes back into Purva Falguni. And this is in Leo. Yeah, Aries, Leo. And then December 13th to January 1st, Mercury is going to go retrograde in Sidereal Sagittarius, yeah, which starts in Purvara shadow going back into Mula. Well, the way Mercury retrogrades work is that when he goes retrograde, it's always in the same element. So you see he starts off in Aries, then he's going to be in Leo, and then he's going to be in Sagittarius for 2023 when he does his retrograde cycle. Yeah, so we've got that. Now, let me give you a little bit of an update on what I was discussing with the UK government, and then I really need to get cracking. Oh my gosh, this is going to be a longer video, folks. Anyway, so now the government's emergency test is going to be happening on April 23rd. Isn't it interesting? When Mercury goes retrograde. Mercury's going retrograde on April 21st. Yeah, now what happens when Mercury goes retrograde, or any planet goes retrograde? Revise, review, revisit, reassess, recalibrate. Yeah? So, you know, this is one of the first times that the UK is doing this. Anyway, so the emergency test will happen. Oh, yeah, I've said that during Mercury retrograde. Now, remember, so one of the clips I shared on my community channel and I clipped to the comments, I said the clip on Sky News said the phone will be switched off if you don't acknowledge, yeah, if you don't acknowledge the alert message, yeah, phone switched off. And that it is compulsory. Everyone has to do it. On the BBC, which we all know, it says that app use on your phone will be switched off until the message is acknowledged. So it's essentially the same thing. Your phone is rendered useless. But it does mention there that you can opt out of it if you're prepared to change your phone settings, but it doesn't show you how. Yeah, I mean, I've changed my phone settings and whatever because people have said this is how you do it. But on the government websites, on the official government website, it just says there will be an alarm test on the 23rd of April. You don't need to take any action. Isn't it interesting? 3 different messages. The first one, if it was just that, you don't need to take any action, that would have been satisfactory enough. But why is it that the messaging in terms of the media is like, well, your phone, well, actually, they've obviously given more detail, basically, and they say your phone basically is rendered useless. So I will not be receiving that message. And guess what? If something is burning down near me or whatever, I'll probably know, yeah? Anyway, there's that bit there. So what I'm thinking is that everything happens for a reason. And you may have heard recently, Putin has made some threats to the UK in regards to nuclear stuff and stuff like that. I think it might be, well, us lot in Britain think it might be a bit more connected with being alerted with things like that. So let's see. Something else that's very interesting as well is that my friend sent me this today. So the NHS COVID-19 app will be closing. It's going to be closing on April 27th. Interesting that, isn't it? The test is happening on the 23rd. The app is closing on the 27th. I've been saying to people, if you see my earlier videos where the eclipses are happening in Ashwini, I said all things to do with physicians, medicine, health, etc. All that stuff is going to be in the news. Some changes in regards to that, especially in regards to tech, because Saturn is in sidereal Aquarius, which is all tech, things in the sky, etc. So they're closing the app. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, they're closing the app when Mercury is retrograde. Review, revise, revisit, reassess. Mercury deals with all kinds of tech as well, yeah? So Mercury, Rahu, and Uranus all deal with tech. Mercury retrograde, the government is rolling something out in terms of this alarm system, but then also rolling something back. Revisions, yeah? So there's that. We've also had a very powerful lineup happen, which in Aries of Jupiter, Mercury, Venus, Uranus, and the Moon. Yeah, I can literally see it all here. We've got basically, in fact, actually, it's actually bigger than that. By the transits today, we've got Sun, Rahu, Moon, Mercury, and Uranus, all in the sign of sidereal Aries. But Jupiter is at 29 degrees 45 minutes of sidereal Pisces, about to go into Aries. So in the sky is basically in the same place. So this is epic. It means the sign of Aries, all things to do with Aries, where the eclipses are happening, are hugely significant. This is a big deal, guys. Big deal. Yeah. That's a huge stellium. That's, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 planets, technically. Literally, Jupiter is at 29 degrees 45 minutes. So his body is already starting to enter sidereal Aries. So I count him in. So there's that. So what I've got here, discuss April 20th, 22nd. Right, so we're going to see full. So this is really important to understand as well. So we're going to have the eclipse happening on April 20th. Mercury goes retrograde on April 21st, and then Jupiter enters sidereal Aries on April 22nd. Yeah, huge. What's Mercury deal with? Mercury is one of the planets of finance, yeah, accounting, travel, information of all kinds, yeah, the exchanging of messages. We already see here in the UK government how messaging, yeah, the emergency messaging, but also as well the COVID app closing is already happening. This is going to happen for a lot of countries around the world, making these technical changes. What is Jupiter? Jupiter also deals with the economy, deals with banking as well. Mercury is connected with finance. Jupiter can literally represent the banking industry, yeah? But remember as well, this lineup, this huge stellium, Venus is also there as well. She's banking and finance as well. Uranus is tech. Yeah, do you see? Aries is about things moving forward at speed. Yeah, it's got a lot to do with horses. Yeah, the symbolism of Ashwini is horses. So we could even have things, you know, all sorts of things. What have I written here? What I put here. So Ashwini, previously unknown things, because remember, eclipses bring things out of the dark. It's like an escalator. Things go out, things come in. So previously unknown things will come out about physicians, scientists, and those in the healing industries in general. But we're already seeing, yeah, the app being taken down in the UK, different things. That's medical. New breakthroughs could be announced. Yeah, so we could have medical breakthroughs, something really interesting, new pills, wonder pills, and all of this kind of stuff. Hopefully things to do with cancer or any kind of improvements in medicine, I hope. But shadow matters in this regard could also come out, yeah, particularly when it comes to origins of Monsieur COVID and etc., physicians. You join the dots, but you will watch. You'll see it will become increasingly significant in the news, yeah. So there could be stuff about vehicles, yeah, because when we talk about vehicles, we also talk about what? Horsepower. So this I translate also can do with vehicles. So things with vehicles could come out engine combustion, yeah, or energy conversion. Aries is a very fiery, energetic sign, could do with power, even stories literally about horses. It could be wild horses, domestic horses, or race horses / breeding of, yeah. It could even include zebras, yeah, that's a type of horse, or horse-like creatures. I'm going to go out there. We may even be discussing things about unicorns. That's really on the woo-woo spectrum, but it's a type of horse, yeah? There might even be debate about it or something like that. Or maybe when Prince Charles gets crowned, there's some kind of, we might just talk about the unicorn and the lion or something like that. But I'm just putting that in there now as one of the more wacky ones. So, like Jupiter said, changes signs into Aries on April 22nd, the day after Mercury goes retrograde, just 2 days after the solar eclipse. So I've put here big news around authority figures, people associated with the economy, laws, and religion. Yeah, so we could hear from those justices again. Yeah, remember the, what is it? Oh, Jesus. Is it Lee versus Harper? No. Let me just check my notes. For here, SCOTUS, look, it's ruling on Moore versus Harper, yeah, which is about what? Remember those voting, the voting thing where the legislature can decide. I can't get the word out, but you know what I'm talking about. Could we hear from them again around about this time? This is what happened last year, yeah. So there's that. What else? Yeah, laws and religion, significant news on trade, education, and communications and travel. So we could hear things again about airlines and stuff like that. Saturn is in sidereal Aquarius. Aquarius deals with aviation. The eclipses are happening with Uranus. Uranus is also aviation. Things to do with wind as well. Big wind. We've already seen, sadly, a tornado absolutely rip through. Aries is also a sign of youth and children. You know, just again, commiserations. And just, you know, we say thoughts and prayers, but aren't we all tired of saying thoughts and prayers for all these massacres that happen? I don't even want to go into the detail of it, to be honest. All I understand is that some woman took some semi-automatic weapons and has just gone into a school. I think it's in Mississippi, isn't it? And just gunned. I've not even looked at the details of the story, read the headline, because I don't want to go there, yeah? And I think we're all, who is sick and tired of all of this happening, constantly happening? Aries does deal with war, conflict, firearms, explosions, stuff like that. That's why I'm kind of hoping, I hope China will hopefully facilitate an end to the Ukraine war, yeah? Jupiter, maybe because he's known as a planet of expansion, could be benign, hopefully bringing that to an end, I hope, yeah? Or does it mean an escalation of some kind? You know, we'll have to see. We will have to see. I hope it's on more on the positive side. So aviation, yeah, which I mentioned, cutting edge tech and even earthquakes, yeah? We could have some more of that. Uranus does deal with that. Protests as well, because Uranus is about liberation. It's about revolution. Look at all the protests in France. That's happening. Are we going to have something in the UK? Our pension age is probably going to change as well. Maybe not quite burning everything down as they do in France, or more inclined to do in France. But, you know, we've been having a lot of protests in the UK as well. As I said, what would be happening? So there's probably more likely of that. But also as well, innovations in tech we could also see. Let's see, but there will be things that we didn't know before around things like that, and stories that make the news in regards to information, communication, travel, and technology. Okay, and then last little mention. So this video is obviously going to be longer, but it's going to be time stamped. Pardon me, I went on a bit longer than I was expecting, but there was a lot of detail in there, but it all makes sense. Anyway, so what I'll put here, oh, I've done a video on Netanyahu. Yeah, did it last week, but I'm probably going to release it tomorrow. Yeah, because, you know, I've not gone into the whole depths of his, you know, Wikipedia deep dive. I've just read his chart. I think you guys might just find it interesting. So my membership already know this, but I'll probably release that tomorrow. There's that. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell notification and stuff like that if you enjoy. Of course, if you like my channel and if you find the information useful, please consider that. Much appreciated. Really does help. Really does help the channel. What is here? Look out for the short that I've done. So I've done another Vedic quickies that's on Mercury. That will be out soon. I think it's going to be out on Wednesday. That is the day that belongs to Mercury. And I've just written here as well, if you'd like a consultation with me as well, of course you can click the link below. March, you know, I had to take off, needed some time. April and May are available. April, there's still a few slots left, but they've been filling up quickly. So if you want to kind of like just have a look at what's going on, how the energies are going to be affecting you personally with an intimate chart reading, click on the link. It will say Hogarth Global Astrology, but when you click on the website, it will still say the archetypalblueprint.com because I've just not had time to change it. It's still my website, so don't get spooked. And what else as well? Oh, and I'm doing a collaboration with Linda G as well this Friday, March 31st, which is going to be 2 p.m. Pacific Standard, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard, USA, yeah, 10 p.m. UK, and 8 a.m. Sydney, Australia time. Oh, and also as well, I've put here, I'm reading a new book, because you know I'm working on my creativity, and it's called Diamonds and Precious Stones. Yeah, I've got this. It's full of juicy details, yeah, about gemstones. Look at this, how they're cut and faceted, all of their historical connotations, meanings. I'm going to be kind of rifling through that because, of course, this is my steps to creating the Book of Power, etc., and all of that kind of stuff. So, of course, I need to know even more about gemstones. There. Okay. Got through it. That was a lot longer than I expected, but such is life. There was a lot of detail to cover, but remember as well, a lot of what I've said will be relevant for all of 2023 and even going into 2024. So we've actually covered a lot of ground there. Okay, let's start with Hoagie's Eclipse calculator. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But sometimes this is the best way to do things. Okay, so we're going to start with Aries. I'm going to get my timer going and I'm going to begin. All right, so here we are. So for those of you that have rising sign, moon, or the sun in sidereal Aries, yeah, remember, check on one of those sidereal free chart calculator things. The eclipses will be happening in your first house and your seventh house. Yeah, the seventh house for all Aries is Libra. Yeah, so what's that all about? The first house is what your personality, how you come across, your body. Yeah, your body. So this will literally deal with your persona, things that touch you. Could even deal with like the physicality, but it also means as well the eclipses do what? They bring things out of the shadow. And they're also like escalators. Something comes in, something comes out. So this is a big changes and transformation. This is happening in Ashwini. Ashwini is all about the sign of what? Speed, movement, haste. Deals with medical stuff. So many of you might be changing your medication, for example, stuff like that. Or you might be working on your health and your fitness. But also as well, because this is the 1-7 axis, Libra is the seventh house, natural seventh house anyway. So this can also deal with relationships, marriage, business. So there may be new things in regards to maybe starting a new business or reviewing something about a business or a business partnership, or there could be something that emerges out of the dark in regards to a partner, or something goes to the next stage. It deepens and it develops. Yeah, remember, eclipses, they're not all bad. There can be amazing revelations as well. It can also mean meeting someone special. You may not necessarily have been expecting this, but it can also mean as well meeting a new partner or starting some kind of new business relationship, or one could be coming to an end. But this is about personal development, personal transformation, moving forward. Very dynamic for Aries. Okay, now I'm going to move the dial. Yeah, I'm going to move it to Taurus. No, sorry, that dial stays the same. I move this dial here, the houses. Oops. And I move that now to Taurus. So you can see here, that means for Taurus people, the eclipses are happening in the 12th house and the 6th house. Yeah, 12th house and 6th house for Taurus, moon, ascendant, or sun. Okay, let's start now. Right, so for you guys, so this is, like I said, the eclipses are happening in the 12-6 axis. What's this all about? 6th house is all about health and healing and overcoming obstacles, can deal with open enemies, litigation, that kind of stuff. They can also deal with health and routines. So some of you may be starting a new health or fitness routine. Again, there could be changes in medication, stuff like that, if you do need to take medication. This can also deal with conflicts and litigation and having to settle something in court, or you're reviewing your health, changing your diet or changing your routines or even your commute, stuff like that. But the Rahu part, the eclipse is happening in the 12th house. 12th house deals with endings and beginnings and endings. So there could be, many of you might be entering into retirement. Yeah, this could be a thing. You could be retiring this year, and you're probably keeping your eyes, open, because you're like, oh, I don't want the economy to do something weird because I'm about to retire, and this could affect my 401k, etc., and stuff like that. But the 12th house is also about travel, internationalism, spirituality, pilgrimage. So many of you could be exploring meditation, or you're thinking of taking a cruise, or some kind of long distance holiday or something like that. Either way, there's going to be something moving forward quickly in regards to the 12th house, because Aries is a speedy sign. So it's almost like, what I think would be good for Taurus ascendant people, or moon people in particular, would be to do some kind of fire pit ceremony and ritual purification. Yeah, that could be something, particularly of those of you that may have their ascendant in the nakshatra, which is called Kritika, which is the early part of Taurus. Yeah, so I hope that was useful for you guys. Now we're going to move the dial around, and we're going to put the first house here in Gemini. Yeah, so for all Geminis, the Rahu part of the eclipse is happening in the 11th house, and the Ketu part of the eclipse is happening in the 5th house. Yeah, because it's always Aries, Libra, until they move out backwards into Pisces, which will be happening in November this year. All right, so Geminis, so you're having this eclipse happen in that, like I said, 11 and 5th house axis. Let me just make sure that that's right there, like that. Perfect. So what's the 11th house? The 11th house deals with hopes, dreams, great gains. Yeah, it can also deal with the elder sibling as well. So there might be a bit of drama, yeah, for the elder sibling, assuming that you have one, yeah, or someone in your friendship circle. So 11th houses are friends, networks, associations of all kinds, groups and organizations, community. Yeah, so there could be news around that, big changes in your community, the eldest sibling, or hopes and dreams. Something comes out of the dark in regards to your hopes and dreams, or maybe there's some sudden transformation that could actually facilitate your hopes and dreams. But on the other part of it, in the 5th house, which is where the lunar eclipse will be happening, because it happens 2 weeks after the main solar eclipse, or vice versa, in the opposite sign, which is Libra. So the lunar eclipse, I should have said, will happen on May 5th, yeah? May 5th. Anyway, this is the 5th house. So the 5th house deals with giving consultation and advice to others, and it also deals with children, yeah? Creativity. So many of you Geminis could actually start feeling very creative, have lots of new ideas, giving consultation and advice to others. This can deal with consultancy or literally painting, writing, doing mantras, creativity of all kinds, or literally your children. Yes, so there could be something comes out of the dark in regards to your children, or some kind of innovation, or something like that. Either way, this is dynamic energy. This could also as well, pardon me, because Libra is associated with the law, there could be things to do with the law as well that could potentially come up, or consulting a lawyer. But the Rahu part is happening in Aries in your 11th house. So it means your hopes and dreams could move forward in some kind of dynamic way. Aries is a very, very dynamic sign. And it brings all kinds of change. Yeah, so I'll leave it there. I was supposed to start the thing. And I think that was about 2 minutes. All right, now let's move this let's move the first house here to Cancerians, yeah? So for all make sure you can see that. For all Cancerians, this eclipse is happening in their 10th house and their 4th house. Yeah, I'm Cancer rising, so, sing along with me if you are a Cancerian, yeah? Ascendant, moon, or sun sign, but particularly ascendant and moon. Okay, this is happening in the 10-4 axis. So this is all about career. Yeah, we've got Rahu and the eclipses. Rahu, the eclipses with Uranus, and all of this action happening in the 10th house of career. Yeah. So this means dynamic changes in terms of career insights, revelations, transformation. Things could suddenly change in regards to the career, maybe a career liftoff or some surprises, something like that. Particularly when Jupiter moves in here, this could be very positive because Jupiter likes being in the sign of Aries, yeah, belongs to his friend Mars. So it could be very dynamic stuff like that. The lunar eclipse is going to be happening in the 4th house, which deals with the heart chakra and the home. So there could be things to do for Cancerians, real estate, maybe moving home or getting a new vehicle. Yeah, because 4th house also deals with vehicles, stuff like that. Also deals with interiors, luxuries, food. Yeah, so Cancerians could be looking at, again, like ways to potentially pamper themselves, or all things to do with real estate. Some of you may even be moving home. You may be selling, yeah, to either downsize or expand, yeah, or potentially buying as well. What I would advise Cancerians is try and get all your sales and stuff done before the summer, yeah, when Mars, the Karka of real estate, pardon me, moves into sidereal Cancer, where he's technically debilitated. Yeah, so we're going to see, it's already happening, but we're going to see fluctuations in house prices and real estate, but particularly once we start getting into May, June, and all of that kind of stuff. Anyway, so that's that for Cancerians. Career and home, big theme. All right, family as well. 4th house is also family. Oh, and guess what? Leaky douchebag blowhard, yeah, or MTG, yeah, as she's also known as well. Do you remember I said she's going to be more in the news, yeah, for career-related things. Just saying. Anyway, let's move on. So we're going to move now. We're going to move now to Leo, yeah. So I'm going to put here we are, first house part there in Leo. So for Leos, the eclipses are happening in the 9th house and in the 3rd house. Yeah, so this is also relevant as well for Duck L'Orange. Yeah. Anyway, I'll begin. So what's 9th house and 3rd house? Yeah, this deals with travel, communications of all kinds, education of all kinds. Yeah. So the 9th house deals with what? Philosophies, ideas, and stuff like that. So many Leos might be going back to school or considering higher learning and development in that sense. But this can also as well deal with legalities as well. If we see a certain Duck L'Orange, yeah, is dealing with what? A lot of law cases and legalities. Yeah, this energy is going to get stronger over what? Things that he said. 3rd house, yeah, which also deals with communications as well. Yeah, speech. Second house is speech, but so is third house. Yeah, truth, social, and all that stuff. But for nice people, yeah, ordinary people, third house also means travel. Yeah, so Leos, you're going to expect there's going to be more things to do with travel, particularly commuting as well in a more localized way. So if you do happen to be in the States or whatever country you're in, you might be traveling more within your country, but it can also mean internationally as well, because Rahu is in the ninth house, which is internationalism, foreign lands, languages, foreign cultures. Yeah, so some of you could be finding new gurus, or you're looking for a spiritual elevation. You might be wanting to travel to a far and exotic land that you've not traveled to before. You might be communicating with people that are foreign, or you might even be looking at things like books, publishing, writing articles, blogs, etc. Stuff like that. So that kind of ninth, third house axis, which I often refer to the axis of preaching, teaching, and travel, yeah, those could be big themes there as well for Leo. So there's going to be prominent stuff. It's also quite auspicious as well, potentially for ordinary Leos. Obviously, Duck L'Orange, it may not be so auspicious, but we'll have to see. All right. Now let's move round to Virgo. Yep, so we're going to move the dial here to Virgo. So for Virgos, the eclipses are happening in the 8th house and the 2nd house. Yeah, 8th and 2nd. So let's start the timer there. So for you guys, now this has got a lot to do with finance, yeah, and other people's money. Yeah, so this is connected with the 2nd house is what? Values, family, resources, money, savings, the voice, particularly the singing voice, can even deal with the eyesight, left eye in particular, but also deals with education. So there's going to be lots of themes around money, savings, education, even food and drink, the things we put into our mouth. Yeah, 2nd house is very connected with food. So for Virgos, you might be looking at things to do with diet and health as well. This is a big theme kind of coming up. But that will be particularly more prominent on the lunar eclipse. If we focus where Rahu is in the 8th house, that means the 8th house are called the house of what? Sex, death, and rock and roll, sudden changes. Yeah, so for people, Virgo ascendant, moon, or sun, but particularly ascendant and moon, there could be some dramatic changes there. There could be an inheritance or a windfall of some kind, or maybe having ideas of how to get extra income, or maybe that side hustle that you've been working on for a while starts to pay off. 8th house is other people's money. There could be things to do connected with the economy and finances and stuff like that. So make sure you're not overexposed to the fluctuations and the ups and downs in the economy that we've been seeing. And as the planets are indicated, there could still be more turbulence, shall we say, in that area. So this is about making sure that you're financially stable. No one can obviously stave off any complete surprise, but just make sure that that's all good. And there'll be things to do with family, potentially inheritance and stuff like that, or some kind of legacies, things to do with the economy and finance and investments. But invest wisely. Don't do any risky don't do any risky finances right now, particularly when the nodes of the moon are going through the 8th house, because they're very unpredictable. They could give some financial problems, but they could also give a financial windfall as well. It depends on their mood, yeah? No one knows until it happens with the nodes, really. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. Now, here we are. Look, at the first part of the video was long, and now we're going at a cracking pace. So now I'm going to move my dial to Libra. So you'll see here, Libra rising, yeah, moon or sun. So this is the 1-7 axis repeated because we're now halfway round. Okay, so for Libras, they are having 1st house and 7th house activation as well, yeah. But what's happening here, the North Node is actually happening in their 7th house. So for Libras, they're going to find their partnerships are particularly affected by the nodes of the moon. So this could mean kind of finding new things out about the partner that they may not have known before. Yeah, that can happen. But also as well, Rahu, believe it or not, can bring marriage. Yeah. So people that are Libra rising could also be getting married. Yeah. There could be that. Or maybe the fiance springs a surprise announcement, gets down on one knee and announces that, or something like that. But it could also mean new developments as well in business. Remember, seventh house is also trade and business partners. So they could be seeing differences in their partnerships, business negotiations, new contracts, etc., stuff like that. But also as well, because the lunar eclipse is going to be happening in the first house when it's conjoined with Ketu, this is also important time for self-reflection, self-development, doing a full emotional inventory and almost kind of purge or working on those shadow elements as well, particularly here for the Libra rising, because the nodes of the moon are shadowy in their nature anyway. And this being K2 and it being the lunar eclipse, which is connecting with spirituality and, of course, the emotions, this is also a great time, an important time to reflect, do some spiritual work and development. But Libras in particular will be seeing changes in the outside world, in their relationships. Some of you, for some, it may be a sudden end to a relationship as well, unfortunately. Yeah, sometimes this happens, but we never know with the nodes. But either way, pardon me, your relationships will be changing. There'll be new energies and innovations, and maybe even one or two surprises. And they could actually be quite nice ones. We'll have to see. Yeah, okay, now let's move on. I'm going to move my dial around. So, of course, we're now going to move the dial to Scorpio. Yeah, so for Scorpios, this axis is happening in their 6-12. Yeah, here we are, 6th house, 12th house, which of course is now the inverse. So it's going to repeat now, of course, each time, because this is the inverse of the Taurus Scorpio. Right. So for Scorpios, Rahu's in the 6th house. So this is really quite important, the manifest point of destiny. So it really is about health, healing, overcoming obstacles, changes, could be rapid changes to the diet. Some of you might have acid reflux, yeah, or be dealing with acid. Yeah, why am I saying that? Because the 6th house deals with the stomach, yeah. Aries, the sign of Aries is what? Fire, heat. So that says to me what? Acid reflux, yeah, things to do with, and so some of you might be having a bit of upset stomach, or I would say check yourself for stomach ulcers or things like that. You know, not wanting to be too dramatic or whatever, but of course that means fire in the stomach, yeah? Or you may be drawn to more spicy food, curries, exotic kind of stuff. You might be putting extra chili on your, your whatnots, all of that kind of stuff. There could be a dynamic change in your routines, yeah, health routines. Literally, I would say for the Scorpios, you probably really are going to be looking at health and diet and working out, yeah, because Mars is energy. Be wary though of conflicts with others and losing your temper. Try and stay cool, calm, and collected if you can, because Aries is a hot sign. And Mars too, remember, is your chart ruler. Yeah, anyone that's an Aries or a Scorpio is ruled by Mars. So you've got to remember that. So this is about looking after your temper, not making rash decisions, and just being careful and aware when you're commuting. Yeah, 6th house also deals with daily commute. Yeah, Aries is speed. Yeah, horses, horsepower, engines. Yeah, so don't, if you're feeling a bit of lead foot, yeah, and you feel tempted to kind of have a little bit of a thrill and jump the lights, I don't recommend it, yeah? I don't recommend it. So, oh, look at that. I forgot to start the thing. I think I'm getting close to 2 minutes anyway. So there's that. But then also as well, when we're looking at the 12th house, Libra. So for Scorpios, this is also as well about intellectual pursuits as well. Libra is very intellectual, but this is sort of like exploring maybe spirituality and stuff like that, but maybe from a more philosophical side. So I'm going to say for the Scorpios, which tend to be iconoclasts anyway, not the most religious of signs, I would say this is maybe more around about philosophy. So reading books on philosophy, I can always recommend Marcus Aurelius. Very, very useful. One of the great things he said, Marcus Aurelius, digression here, one of the emperors of Rome, and he said, one of the things he said which made me laugh, he said, no matter how well you have lived your life, no matter how perfect it is, he said, when you're on your deathbed, there's always at least one person in the room that will be glad that you're dead. Yeah, there you are. I'm not necessarily saying that's going to be the case of Scorpios, but I would recommend looking at philosophy and intellectual ideas and stuff like that. Right, on to the next one. So we're going to move the dial around, of course, here to Sagittarius. Yeah, here for Sagittarius. So for Sagittarians, they're getting the 5 and 11 axis, but of course, opposite to Leos. Yeah. So start the timer this time. Sagittarius, rising moon or ascendant. All right, so for you guys, in that you're having that 5-11 axis, but here the emphasis, the Rahu emphasis is on the 5th house. So this is to do with giving consultation and advice to others. Yeah, consultation and advice to others. This can be an incredible time for the imagination. Yeah, all sorts of creativity, ideas, mantras, people coming to you for advice. This could be being paid for consultation services, writing books, and all of this different kind of stuff. This here, I can certainly, recognize this sort of like energy, because in my Navamsha chart, my second half of life chart, Sagittarius rising, what am I working on? Creativity books and all. It's just literally just twigged in my mind right now. So Sagittarius is going to be dealing with that energy as well. 11th house is what? Hopes and dreams, ideas, yeah? Wish fulfillment, but it's going to be happening with that Libra kind of energy this time for the 11th house, as opposed to what's the word? As opposed to the Geminis. Sorry, the Geminis were having it in the other way. Anyway, so this is about one's intellectual ideas and how one communicates with the world, those dreams coming to fruition. Yeah, because Libra is a very intellectual sign, but it's also the sign of the law and also deals with business. Yeah, so this could be business ideas, concepts, groups and organizations of all kinds, those desires kind of coming true, manifesting in the world. Wow, wow, wow. Lucky for the Sagittarians. So here what I would say is with this energy, because Aries is such a bombastic energy, it's about not going too quick, not rushing one's ideas, not rushing one's ideas and concepts and stuff like that, taking the required time to make sure to dot the I's and cross the T's. But this could be a very fruitful time for Sagittarius people, particularly as well because Jupiter, the chart ruler for all Sagittarius people, is going to be in Aries, doing very well. Yeah, he loves being in Aries. Right, let's move this around now. We're going to move the dial and we're going to move over to Capricorn. Yeah, so for Capricorns, this is happening in the 4th house and the 10th house. Yeah, opposite to the Cancerians. So for Capricorns, yeah, for Capricorns, 10th 4th house axis, but the emphasis here is on the 4th house. So this is a time really for Capricorns that are going to be feeling things heat up in terms of real estate, but home comforts. This is also talking about family. There could even be a few family arguments as well. Yeah, 4th house is home, mother, yeah, family, relaxation. But it's happening in the sign of Aries, which also deals with what? Energy, passion, conflict, yeah? So some of you might have to watch out for family arguments and stuff like that, or your mother might just come out with 1 or 2 bombshells or a few cuss words, or, yeah, what I call mother bomb, yeah? Some of you might be mother bombed in some way. Or there could be some revelation or some transformation in regards to the mother or something like that. So let's hope that is positive. In terms of the energy, the positive energies of stuff like that, a lot of you could be changing the interiors of your house or, again, things connected with home, real estate, buying, selling. Either way, something's going to be speeding up. So if you've been wanting to sell or things have been paused or slow for a while, you might find that they rapidly speed up. Remember, Ashwini deals with horses, yeah, speed. Also as well, the Ashwing and the Kumar twins, also the physician of the gods. So there could be things to do with health. Also as well, look out as well for the heart. Yeah, fourth house is the heart chakra. Aries also deals with what? The blood, movement, stuff like that. So make sure that your heart is good and okay. And this could also as well mean maybe doing some cardiovascular exercise or things connected with the heart energy. Yeah. If we look at the 10th house, where the lunar eclipse will be happening a couple of weeks later. So this could be some insights, and developments in regards to the career. Could be things to do with legal matters in regards to the career, but great time for ideas, insights connected with the career. And particularly men in the workplace as well, because Libra is a masculine sign. So this could be when you might become the boss, or your boss could say something very interesting to you. Yeah, let's put it that way. Okay, let's move on. And now we come to Aquarius. So we'll just move the dial around to Aquarius. Yeah. And that means for Aquarius people, the Aries or Rahu node will be happening in the 3rd house and in the 9th. It should be, what am I doing here? Oh, have I got that lined up right? Yeah, should be 3rd and 9th. Okay. So again, this 3-9 axis is the repeat of the Leo one, but the opposite way. So what's the 3rd house all about? 3rd house isn't just commutes and communication and education. It also deals with hand skills, artisans, etc., but also siblings. So for the Aquarius people, sun, moon, or ascendant, but the ascendant and moon being the strongest, there could be some issues with the siblings. Yeah, maybe one of your siblings might play up, particularly a brother. Yeah. Mars represents siblings, but brothers in particular, but Aries is a male sign, yeah? And if the eclipse is here, it means could be some kind of issue or some kind of revelation or development with a male sibling, but it could be your sister as well, yeah? 3rd house is siblings. Emphasis again on travel, local travel, but this is also education as well and hand skills. Aries is a very creative sign. 3rd house deals with artisans. Some of you might even be starting to learn to play the piano or a musical instrument, or you might take up calligraphy, drawing, or something like that. Either way, wanting to develop new skills, communication skills, public speaking, or, we all do emails and Zoom and stuff like that, but you could find that you're doing a lot more Zooms or, meeting new clients or innovations. It also deals with self-employment and business. So for Aquarians, you really could be starting a little kind of business or a little side hustle. Yeah. 9th house, Libra, again deals with travel, exoticism, foreign lands, languages, but Libra is a sign of intellect. So this again is talking about, let me just make sure that that is right. We're talking about Aquarius. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Oh, crikey. So many of you could be traveling, 9th house. You could be looking for gurus. Again, this is very philosophical, this kind of stance, and it can be to do with languages and stuff like that. So I think you're going to be learning new skills, but watch out for siblings and stuff like that. Okay, let's move now to Pisces. Look how quickly we got there. So for Pisces, this eclipse is happening in the 2nd house and the 8th house. You can see it doesn't quite as accurately. Some of the houses are a little bit wider than others, but anyway. Hand drawn, folks, hand drawn. So for Pisces people, this means the eclipse is happening in your 2nd house. So this is family, money, finance, all of that stuff. You know how earlier on in the video I was talking about how finance is key and stuff like that. So some Pisceans might really be feeling some financial pressure, or there's something that might be dynamic, maybe even slightly out of control, moving faster. However, the positive iterations of this is coming up with new ideas around making money, innovation, looking at how to improve one's savings, Or will there be a yield from stock market? Yeah, will there be a stock market yield? Because of course, this is happening in the 8th house opposite. The lunar eclipse will be there, happening in Libra. There could be some sudden revelation, something that comes out. For some of you, it might be some surprise bills. I'm sorry to say that, yeah? Might be some surprise bills. I was talking about the Federal Reserve, yeah? How they put up interest rates. A few of you are getting a few shockers already, yeah? So one doesn't necessarily have to be a rocket scientist to kind of like work this out. But when I look at that in the context of what's happening, that could be a surprise. However, on the positive side, this is also a dynamic time where one can find new resources, find new ways of making money. Or this could be when you kind of rehabilitate your, you might be changing your household budget. You might be budgeting a bit more, and then you find you've got a bit more extra money for other stuff. In many ways, this kind of 2-8 axis is very relevant for everyone. We're all going to be looking at our finances and income, passive income or not, or things to do with stock markets, savings, money. All of us are going to be, this is going to be a big theme throughout this year, because of course we see many changes happening with the global economy. But there we are, I'll leave it there. But for Pisces in particular, I would say look at that. It's also a good time to educate yourself about money and finances. Second house is also education, voice, yeah. Looking at food and diet, incoming and outgoing, looking at the family, but also as well looking at potential side hustle incomes, new forms of income, and being innovative in that way. There you are, folks. A bit epic. 1 hour and 20 little bit minutes and stuff like that. But you know what? We had to cover a lot of ground. Yeah, we covered a lot of ground, and this will set us all up for the year. So it was packed with information. You know, I like to let rip with the speed, but this is a video. Come back to it. Check throughout the year. Let's see how the themes develop. Yeah, let's see how accurate it plays out to be. But just keep watching it, yeah, because this video is going to set you up essentially for all of 2023. And then when the next set of eclipses come and stuff like that, obviously I'll go into detail about them. They're going to be very similar. But of course, when the eclipses happen, we can review this and stuff. But take this as the starting point, particularly for the astrological year, which really begins in the spring. So this is even going to go up to even, you know, early 2024. I hope you found that interesting. If you found that useful, of course, please don't forget to like and subscribe and share and all of that stuff. Remember, I'll be with Linda G as well on this Friday coming. Again, those times, what did I say? It's Friday, 2 p.m. PST, 5 p.m. EST, 10 p.m. UK, 8 a.m. Sydney, Australia time. I will leave it there for now. Thank you so much as well for all the encouragement and support. And I hope you liked my little, you know, Hoagie's calculator. Let me know if that was useful for you and helped you understand so much of what is going on with the movement of the stars. I will leave it there. And watch out for my Netanyahu video, which I'll probably post tomorrow, and my Vedic quickies on Mercury. And of course, on Saturday, I'll be back with Hogarth as well. So have a great week. Thank you guys for the support. And I hope you found this information interesting. It's a bit intense. I know it's a bit intense, a bit of dark night of the soul kind of stuff, energies for the USA Persephone work. But I hope you found there's some useful tools within there as well. When we do our shadow work, it makes us so much stronger, and miracles also start to happen in our life as well. I'll leave it there for now. See you all soon. All right. Bye-bye.